All right, so today is the 19th of December 2021, Pacific Standard Time, evening, I guess, 8 o'clock. All right, so
representing the Christian worldview. If you don't accept that, your only option is to present, listen to me, your only option is to present your model of reality. You cannot put on the table another model of reality as a defeater for the Christian worldview. To do so is incoherent.
You have no idea what I was about to say at all. So may I continue?
Okay. Do you accept the Christian worldview?
It is a worldview, yes.
No. Do you accept it? Listen, dude, don't play dumb with me because then I get pissed off. Do you accept its actuality? That the God of Christianity is the creator of all things?
If you allow me to just say what I was going to say, I think you could understand.
Answer
I don't have
the
a
question.
Yes or no to that question.
My patience runs out when people are fools. Do you accept the Christian worldview as being actual?
Can you let me speak, please?
If you don't answer the question, I will move on to somebody else.
I'm trying to, but you're not letting me.
Do you accept the Christian worldview as true?
Okay, no, I don't.
Okay, what is the worldview that you will be speaking to me from?
Mine.
Yeah, last chance, dude.
I don't have a name for it. It doesn't seem to completely cohere with any other view that I've seen thus far.
Okay.
So can you let me speak so that I can share my
What is your basic model of reality? What is it that is unconditionally non-dependent and provides for all contingencies?
The arcane. It is mysterious.
What is it that is unconditionally non-dependent, sir?
The arcane.
What is that?
It is mysterious.
Okay, we're next.
Oh, and all
I'm turning it down. We're done. Next. Anyone else?
Me.
Go ahead.
What's up, man?
Yeah, you see, when people are stuck on stupid, it's like the needle on a record player. I move it. Go ahead.
I get you, dude. So, all right. What's your thesis? Is that nothing depends on anything? I agree. There is no dependency.
No, I didn't. That wasn't my thesis. My position is that the God of the Bible is that which is absolute. The God of the Bible is that which is unconditionally non-dependent and is the creator and sustainer of all things. All intelligibility for all statements of predications, propositions, only derive their metaphysical intelligibility in virtue of God as the creator and sustainer. If you reject that, then you're going to have to tell me how your model of reality provides for that.
I reject that, but I totally reject that, and I think that there is no overall dependency.
How do you know that?
I don't, but can you say that there is?
Okay, now did you just realize what happened to 2 or 3 gentlemen ago when they rejected the notion that there is something unconditionally non-dependent?
No, I'm kind of new to this thing, but.
Oh, okay, all right. If you reject the notion that there is something fundamentally absolute that all contingencies depend upon, then when you make assertions, they're meaningless. They don't depend upon anything.
True.
Good, then it's game over. Then you need to be quiet.
No. But that doesn't mean that there is a absolute contingency. It's dishonest.
You're not. You see, you're another deer in the headlights.
I totally fucking disagree.
You are another deer in the headlights, and I will tell you to your face, and then I will explain it.
Okay, literally what you're talking about.
Don't overtalk me. Don't overtalk me. You are not understanding the dilemma that you're in. You are in a very serious I'll use the word precarious philosophical position. Once you admit that you do not acknowledge or accept that there is something that is absolute, then you have nothing to ground your statements of contingency in. Therefore, they are rendered metaphysically unintelligible. If you don't understand what I just said, I'll be glad to further unpack it.
I totally get what you're saying. What you're saying is there's this philosopher named Derrida, which existed in like the 1960s, and this was his whole shebang. As he said that everything depends on everything else, and that there is no absolute, that there's no base for anything. And that's the honest truth. There really isn't.
Okay, that's okay. You're still not getting it. Okay?
I totally am.
You're another deer in the headlights. See, this is the frustrating thing, is that when I explain something and I dumb it down, that I have to even further dumb it down. Now,
I get what you're saying, dude. You think I don't get what you're saying? I get what you're saying.
No, you do not. Stop arguing with me. You do not get it. Now, once you verbalize that there is no fundamental absolute, then there's no basis to assert any statements of contingency. Do you understand?
Yes.
Right, so it's game over. Then you destroy your ability to make assertions.
Yes.
Yeah, it's game over. So whatever assertion you make, doesn't matter what it is, whatever statement of fact that you make, I'm going to ask you, is that statement of fact or proposition unconditionally non-dependent? Well, you're going to have to answer no. And I'm going to ask you, what does it depend upon? And then you're going to have to
surround it. And
you're not. Listen. How old are you? Are you a teenager?
I definitely am.
Okay. The most trouble I have with people understanding it is with young teenage males, because they don't. Your brain isn't fully formed yet, and you haven't developed critical thinking skills. Okay, that doesn't mean that you're stupid. Okay, it just means that you're inexperienced. Now, once you acknowledge that there is not anything that is absolute or foundational, the moment you make an assertion, it doesn't matter what that is, then that assertion itself will be a contingency, because it'll have to be a contingency, because there's nothing that is unconditionally non-dependent in your view. So then what does that statement depend upon? And if you say, well, it depends on X, Y, Z, and I say, well, what does X, Y, Z depend upon? And then you're going to go, oh, I don't know. So your assertion is based upon I don't know.
Why does there have to be a base?
Because then it's an arbitrary declaration.
It is, but with a base, it wouldn't be an arbitrary declaration.
Well, sir. Listen to me carefully. I'm going to demonstrate it to you right now. The reason why everything you say is wrong is because the moon is filled with green cheese. That's why you're wrong. Do you accept that? Do you accept it or reject it? Everything you say is wrong because the moon is filled with green cheese. Do you accept that?
The moon is green, therefore you're wrong.
See, no answer. See that amazing? I tell him everything he says is wrong because the moon is made of green cheese, and I ask him, do you accept that? And he can't answer it.
Ooh. Yikes.
No, because the things I'm talking about aren't really about.
Do you accept my reasoning? You see, you just demonstrated you're a deer in the headlights. There's dead silence coming from you.
No, I don't accept your reasoning, but
okay, why? Why don't you accept my proposition? Is it because it's baseless?
Yes.
Oh, you reject. Wait a minute. You reject my proposition because it's without foundation. Do you reject my proposition because it's arbitrary?
But rationalism is...
Do you reject my proposition because it's arbitrary? See, deer in the headlights, folks.
I think what you're sensing, Nathan, is not all baseless.
We're done here. We're done here.
Not all baseless
You had your
statements
chance.
are.
Now you're turned down. Please don't make me eject you from the room. You had
not
your
all baseless
chance.
statements are necessarily created equal, right?
Did I not just issue you a warning?
So
Okay.
just because a statement is baseless, if you share a base with somebody else, then you can still communicate with that person, right?
That's kind of what I was thinking, but
yeah. So like, if you say,
now, if you reject my proposition because it's arbitrary, you're laying out that arbitrary propositions are vacuous. But you yourself have conceded that you have no unconditional, non-dependent foundation that any proposition or statement of contingency depends upon. Therefore, you have conceded that you're making arbitrary declarations. It's game over. Lights out. It's the same position that the Japanese were in at the second dropping of the atomic bomb at Nagasaki. It's time to surrender because the nuclear bomb has been dropped.
Okay, to be honest, I do think you're wrong, but I do not have a good comeback at the moment.
If you think I'm wrong, listen, do you think I'm wrong in virtue of the law of non-contradiction?
No, you're perfectly consistent.
No, sir, you're not understanding the question. In order to make a determination that X is wrong, you have to believe and assert that not X is true. How are you going to determine that any proposition is false? The only way that you can determine that a proposition is false is that the negation of the proposition is true. So if my position is wrong, then the negation of my position must be true. So what is that proposition that is a negation of my proposition, and how is it true? What is it?
That there's no base. There is no absolute truth. There is no base to facts.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So you accept arbitrary declarations then?
I don't know.
If either you accept arbitrary declarations or you reject it, which is it?
I don't know, but I will let you
now.
Go
Isn't this amazing, folks? Listen, another deer in the headlights. I asked the gentleman here, "Do you accept arbitrary declarations?" And his answer is, "I don't know." Amazing. You see, this is the consequences when you reject the revelation of the Christian God, who has given accurate and objective and self-attesting revelation of himself, infallibly recorded in the Bible. When you say, "Oh, well, I don't accept that. You haven't proven it to me."
Well,
then
I would just like to say,
doing, please do not.
Hold on,
overtalk
I've broken
me.
through the material substrate, Mr. Dawkins. Now, if you're right about Christianity, slam dunk, high five, Mr. Dawkins. But if not, they can't say crap to us because their death has done the server muting for us. Is that not an agreeable statement? Awfully quiet, like a deer in the headlights, Mr. Dawkins.
Okay, why is the command not working to the mods? Please remove Cole Peterson from the room. The command is not working. Okay, so now we have exactly what Ask Yourself said would not going on, that a mod would not be pissing on me. Okay, so Cole Peterson, you can fuck off. Okay, you're trolling and you're attempting to piss on me. Okay. Now I would suggest, for your sake, that you stop your pissing on me. Okay? I have no interest in speaking with you. I have no interest in engaging in your theatrics, pretending to be Jordan Peterson. You're a moron. Now, is there anyone else who wants to continue the conversation?
Why is your language so restricted? It's not even... What's the point? Your language is so restricted. It's like asininely so.
Can you hear me?
It's really not, though.
His language, yes. It's so restricted. And it's just a bunch of word salad for a bunch of garbage.
No, it's not.
Okay, yeah, no, it's not. It's a very carefully worked out theological and philosophical position. You don't have to. You don't have to accept it, but it is not. Don't overtalk me. Do not overtalk me. Now, you don't have to accept or agree, but because you are so intellectually inept to offer a defeater, what you are resorting to is just simply vilification, that it's word salad. It's not word salad, okay? What I'm giving is a form of transcendental reasoning, okay? And because you are inept and you are naive, you don't know how to counter it. Let me ask you this question. I can send you a book written right now. It's a book written at a collegiate level. It's called The Myth of Religious Neutrality. Okay? One of the central lines of my reasonings comes right out of that book. Now, I'll send you the book right now. Are you willing to say that that book is a word salad? It's called The Myth of Religious Neutrality by Krauser. No. No, you're not. That's typically what deer in the headlights idiots who don't like what they're hearing because they want to believe that their worldview of skepticism can retain some level of coherency. And when I come along and I said, no, your system completely collapses. Your model of reality is incoherent.
Is it? Do you know the definition of arcane?
If you want to maintain that the Christian worldview is not actual, then you're going to have to tell me. Okay, listen to me. Don't overtalk me. Then
wait, hold on a second.
Wait. All right, we're done. We're done. No, we're not done.
Do you know the definition of arcane? I'm posting it, like, in the chat, because apparently you don't. So, like, can you read the definition so that you know what I mean when I say the arcane? Can you do that? Gee.
Next.
I'll have a go if no one else wants to.
I didn't understand what you said.
I'll have a go. I'll jump in if there's no other takers.
Sure. What's your position?
Well, first, if maybe I could just articulate back to you what my understanding of your position, so I don't get that wrong. You're saying basically that you have this foundation for your knowledge and understanding that allows you to make assertions and conclusions that are superior to mine as an atheist, that I can't really hold anything to be true. No? Okay, sorry.
No, my position is not that it's superior, is that my model of reality, okay, the Christian worldview, is the only reasonable and coherent worldview. And any worldview that is not the Christian worldview is a denial of the Christian worldview and will result in incoherency. In other words, you will have no basis for metaphysical intelligibility of any assertion.
Yeah, okay, so, but I mean, being coherent versus incoherent is, I would say, superior.
No, the issue superior has to do with evaluation of a hierarchy, okay? It's not that the Christian worldview is better. The Christian worldview is the only rational and coherent worldview to hold to, the only one. It would be like if I said to you, if you came over to my house and you said, all right, where's a knife to cut the meat, to cut the roast? And I say, oh, it's in the drawer. And you pull it out and you say, is this your best knife? And I say, it's the only knife in the house. And you say, oh, so it's the best? No, there's no best because it's the only one.
Yeah, I got you. So it's not a continuum. It's a binary.
Right.
Yeah,
it's the only coherent worldview. Now, if somebody wants to step up the plate and say, au contraire, the Christian worldview is vacuous, somebody can do that. We've already had about 6 or 7 people try to do that, and it's ended very badly for them philosophically.
Well, this foundation that you have that allows you to make a coherent argument is based on something which is it's not provable. It's just a belief system.
Well, the problem that I have is that statement. Does that statement emanate from the Christian worldview or not?
I don't know what you mean. Christians believe in Christianity and Christians don't.
Provability has to do with that which would be verifiable and can be authenticated. Now, when you say that the Christian worldview, and that entails the Christian scriptures, are not provable, what you have declared then is that the Christian scriptures are not, because of their origin, meaning from God himself, self-attesting and self-authenticated. So by virtue of that, you have denied the existence of the Christian God. Do you realize that?
Yes.
All right. Do you have okay, now, in the case that the Christian God exists, then your statement would necessarily be false, because whatever the Christian God gives in Revelation, by definition, would be self-attesting and self-authenticating because of who God is. Now, since you say that the Christian worldview and hence the Christian scriptures are not provable, what you're saying is they are not, in fact, self-attesting and self-authenticating, thereby that the Christian scriptures are not the infallible word of God. And that is a de facto denial of the Christian God. Now, that statement that you have made will not be sustainable unless you have a defeater for the Christian God. Do you have one?
No, I don't think that's required. I don't think I need to.
Oh no, it is.
Defeat the idea of the Christian.
Well, look, listen. If by definition, in the Christian worldview. Now, when I say by definition, I'm not saying that you have to accept it as actual. But what you can't disagree is what is defined within the system of the Christian worldview, right? Like, for example, in the Christian worldview, the Christian God is defined as being triune. Now, you can certainly believe that no God exists, or that a God that exists is a monad and not triune. But you can't disagree that the Christian worldview, the God of the Bible, is defined as triune. In the same way, in the Christian worldview, the scriptures are defined as being God-breathed or God-exuded. Now, if you make a determination that the Christian scriptures are not self-authenticated, right? You said they cannot be proven. So in other words, they cannot be proven by any appeal to any ultimate authority, including God himself. Then the God of the Bible necessarily cannot exist. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Right. So do you have a defeater for the Christian God? Because if you don't, then your statement that the Bible is not provable is not necessarily true, and it's simply a guess on your part.
Well, I haven't seen any proof yet, and I've looked. It's no. There's lots of things that disprove a lot of things that just stated in the Bible.
Now what you're appealing to is incredulity. Now, I asked you a question. Do you have a defeater for the Christian God?
Maybe not a defeater.
Okay, now, since you don't have a defeater,
stop over talking me.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was taking the piss.
Okay. Now, since you don't have a defeater for the Christian God, then for all you know, it may be the case that the Christian God exists. And in the case that the Christian God exists, his revelation would be self-authenticating and self-attesting, and hence proven, whether or not the recipient of the self-attesting scriptures is persuaded or accepts it. Because provability.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it's if it's true, it's true whether I believe in it or not.
Now, here's the problem. Your criterion is also a double-edged sword. When you throw a boomerang with razor edges, it might come back and cut your own head off. So when you say that the Christian scriptures are not provable, does your worldview have a foundation and a basis that anything can be ascertained to be the case where you cannot be wrong?
Well, that's a big question. I mean, I would say, yeah, there are things which are known to be definitely true. There are
very funny, Carlos. Okay, does your worldview provide a way to ascertain anything, and that which you ascertain cannot be wrong?
Some things, I guess. I mean, mathematics is you can't 1 + 1 = 2. I mean, but how can I prove that to you?
Yeah, je blue blues equal kerfunkel times 1.
Yeah, I get you. I think I get you. So in that respect, yeah, I guess there is
abstractions.
Abstraction for sure. We made the whole shit up. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, they're inherently tautological.
Yeah, so in that way, I guess no. There's no way of knowing anything for sure except.
Okay.
So, I know that I'm conscious.
Okay, good.
But
so
I don't have.
No. Is there anything? Listen carefully. Is there anything that you can assert that you can't be wrong about?
Probably not. No.
Okay, then why are you asserting that the Bible can't be proven?
Why don't you prove that it is correct?
That's not an answer to my question.
Well, I'm asserting that because that's my belief. That's why I'm asserting that.
No, yeah, you asserted it as veridical. You asserted it as actual. You said the Bible cannot be proven. And that includes your statement that the Bible is not self-attesting. How do you know that the Bible is not self-attesting? How does your system, what is your ultimate authority for making a determination as to what is true?
I never claimed ultimate authority.
By the way,
I don't know that it's false, but when I analyze the information and I look at it objectively, don't overtalk me. Most people don't say overtalk. We say talk over. So
is it true
I get a little bit autistic.
Is it true that the Bible is not self-authenticating?
It's my belief that that's true.
I didn't ask you if it was your belief. I said, is it true?
I can only give you my beliefs. That's all I can give you. I don't know what you want from me. You want
Is your belief arbitrary? Is your belief arbitrary or not?
It's as arbitrary as yours.
Okay, so what you're telling me is that the Bible cannot be proven as an arbitrary declaration? Is that?
Hello, Hydro Hose. How you doing? Believe ET or X, it speaks. Believe ET or X. If it speaks, believe it. All right. But this guy, I have an echo? How do I have an echo? How is that possible? Hold on a second. 19th of December. Right, that's coming up there. Do I still have an echo? Really? Hold on. Let me turn on the old YouTube and listen. One moment, please. Okay, so maybe the echo is like. Just let me know if I've got an echo. I'm gonna try and get this thing to work so I can get some feedback, and we can get back to the regularly scheduled program. Wouldn't you know?
You that you will be speaking to me from.
Okay.
Mine.
All the way to the end and play. And play. And play. You know what? No echo? Well, right now, I'm just trying to load up YouTube so I can listen back. Just let me know if I've got an echo. Well, listening back, I don't hear any echo. So I'm going to assume there's no echo. Yeah, DD is a piece of shit. Let's carry on with the piece of shit. DD. With these presuppositional speak.
Is that correct?
Well, in the context of what we're talking about, you could say that everything's arbitrary.
Okay, that's not an answer to my question. Is your declaration...
Okay, yes.
Okay, good. So why should I accept any arbitrary declaration that comes out of your mouth?
I don't know. Well, you accept arbitrary declarations that come out of books written 1,000 years ago. So you obviously...
Is that statement you just made arbitrary?
I don't understand how you're not getting it. Yeah, it's all arbitrary, but you just believe one arbitrary thing.
You're not, listen, you're not getting it. You're another deer in the headlights. You truly don't get it. And by the way, even though that's a bit of an insult, I'm not saying it so much as an insult, but to really get through to you, you are a deer in the headlights. You don't realize the implications of what you're saying. It's going right over your head.
I think I'm on the same page. You're just saying that arbitrary assertions are superior to my arbitrary assertions.
Do you have a headset? Do you have a headset? I'm tired of listening to myself being reverberated on your speakers. Now, you right now, you're not getting the...
You guys are trolling me, dudes. That feedback's coming from the recording.
implications. When you concede that your statements are arbitrary, then they're vacuous. Because then I can just sit there and say to you, you're wrong because the moon is made out of green cheese. You're just making arbitrary statements.
So you think your statements are less arbitrary?
No, that's not my position at all. And in fact, my statements about the Christian worldview are the antithesis of arbitrariness, because those statements are a reiteration of what God has, in a self-authenticating way, revealed in natural and special revelation. Now, if you reject that, then whatever assertion comes out of your mouth, I'm going to ask you what you're standing on that will provide for the intelligibility of a statement. But you've already told us all your statements are arbitrary. Therefore, you have no basis. Now, originally, you said the Bible cannot be proven, but you have just admitted that all of your assertions are unprovable as well. So the condemnation that you heaped upon the Bible falls upon your own head. You have just committed philosophical suicide.
No, I don't see how that works. I mean, yeah,
okay.
You're contradicting yourself, because you're saying that your statements are arbitrary, but you're implying they're not.
I'm about to end it right now. Listen, I just painstakingly went through this with you minutely.
Yo, can someone mute this Jackson bitch?
You are a deer in the headlights. You aren't comprehending what I'm saying. You're just being argumentative in response. You made a condemnation. You said the Bible is unprovable. Okay? Now, if the Bible is unprovable, then it cannot serve as the final authority. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good. Now, are any of your assertions provable?
I don't need, a foundation like that.
Listen, dude, I'm really, you know what? Get a freaking headset, will you please? I'm tired of hearing myself in your speakers. It's rude not to do that. Are you pushed to
talk? Yeah, well, you stop talking over me and you won't hear it.
Now, you stated that the Bible is unprovable. Therefore, what the Bible says has no authority. But you stated that your assertions are arbitrary. Therefore, your assertions have no authority whatsoever. They're meaningless. So the condemnation that you delivered...
I want to talk, but you won't unpush to talk.
Around, okay.
It's true. It's true. He won't let Gary will not let his opponent talk. It's a constant problem. No talkie for you. No talkie for you. Only me.
You're not understanding. The condemnation that you deliver to the Bible wipes you out. But you're not getting it because you're a deer in the headlights. You know why? It's because you're not a careful thinker on these matters.
Unlike Gary, of course. Gary's a very careful thinker. Yes, he thinks just coincidentally, by the way, he thinks exactly the way Van Til and Barnson think. Isn't that something? It's like the most amazing coincidence ever.
Really? You believe in a sky god and you're telling me I'm not a careful thinker?
No, you're not a careful thinker, because let me explain something to you. Everybody believes in a absolute, whether that absolute is personal or impersonal. Now, what you want to do is you want to enter the domain of a theological and philosophical debate, but then you want to do a little bit of stand-up comedy, that you think that giving a moniker to God is somehow a cogent argument. Saying a sky fairy is not an argument. Now, okay,
what
now,
the fuck's he talking
do you
about?
believe that in order for me to believe in God, God must be worthy of belief? Now, if
do you believe that in order for me to believe in God, God must be worthy of belief? He said it. He said it on the recording. Everybody who heard him, put up your hand. Look around the room. Make sure everybody's got their hands up. He said it.
If I don't hear a clear and direct answer to my questions, if you just give me circuitous responses, I will stop talking with you. Okay? If you want clarification for the question, I'll be glad to give clarification. So here's my question. Do you think that it is ridiculous to believe in God because I don't have sufficient reason or justification for God?
No, I don't believe that.
Why is believing in a creator God therefore ridiculous in your view?
I just said it's not. I said it's not ridiculous.
You referred to believing in God as believing in a sky fairy, did you not?
No, I said sky god. I don't think, maybe I might have said fairy. I don't think so.
Whatever. So I believe that there is a creator God. Now,
that's great. If it helps you live your life, if that helps you live your life, then go for it.
No, that's not my position. My position is if you don't accept the self-disclosure of the creator of this universe through his progressive revelation, his natural...
This guy is relentless with his bullshit. And unbelievable. But so entertaining. So entertaining.
And his special revelation, which is progressive, then immediately upon the rejection of his communication of himself and about the nature of existence, after that, any assertion you make will be neutralized, because you won't have, by your own criterion, you won't be able to establish the intelligibility of any assertion. You've already admitted it, because you told me minutes ago that every assertion you make is arbitrary.
And I believe every assertion you make is arbitrary. The difference is that you don't talk over me. I'll let you talk a lot.
Then it's game over. We're done.
No. But it's just your belief. You can't prove what you stand on is fundamentally more coherent. I'm getting it, but you're not getting the facts.
No, you're not, because what you're doing is you're.
See, this is exactly how Darth Dawkins got his reputation. Got his really bad, shitty reputation. He got his clown reputation. So let me get to you guys in the chat room who I've been ignoring. So let me go to the top. Okay, Hydro Hose. Welcome. Bulldog, always good to see. Well, pop in. But don't come to me with this free for talk shit. Algorithm, hello mate. And Jill, rebuke and reprove. Hello. Are you still here? Jill was in the other day with Artangelo, by the way, if anybody noticed, if anybody had any, if anyone's been following. We had quite a good talk. Jill, myself, Artangelo, and look out for number one. That's the way to run a hangout. Hey, guys. Mainly because I left Jill and look out for number one. We took it off. We took it offline and went private. But then eventually Jill and look out for number one were getting into it. So, I mean, like really respectfully, but back and forth. I just left and went to sleep. But that's the idea is if you get into the room, if you're admitted into the room, then you don't have to be readmitted into the room. So if I'm not here and the room is open, you can still come in. But see, it's like a little experiment. See if we can keep it as respectful as it should be. You know, literally as it should be. Like the rules of decorum, like Robert's Rules of Order, all this kind of nonsense. But anyway, you're not here to listen to me. You're here to listen to Gestapo Gary's.
Simply like when a dog goes back to its vomit and it goes yum and it starts lapping up.
A dog doesn't fucking do that. I've heard this before about this vomit in the dog. And he's going to say, yeah, he doesn't think about it. It's instinctive. Well, I have a dog and I've had a dog for 11 years and my dog has vomited on occasion. Rarely, but has. And I've never had my dog eat it up. Go back and eat it up. Never. So what the fuck? That's what I hate about people like Darth Dawkins. He's an abuser. He's never owned an animal. Of course he's never owned an animal. He's an abuser. If he did own an animal, it wouldn't last. It would die of abuse and neglect and... poor thing. Abuse of animals really piss me off, by the way.
You ever seen a dog eat its own vomit? Have you ever seen a dog? Okay, there are certain dogs that eat their own feces, right?
Bullshit. Right? Right? There's certain dogs that eat their own feces, right? No, not right. I hope that somebody listens to this at some point and says, fuck, man, I'm listening to a Christian, and this is what they believe. This is the kind of shit they used to speak in 2021, 100 years ago, whenever.
You are simply regurgitating the same statements that I have completely neutralized minutes ago, and you're just simply reiterating them.
You don't feel that you have, but from no, you haven't.
Dude, I'm not. Listen to me carefully. This is going to sound.
No, Darth, you listen to me, Gavin. He's such a bombastic, pompous piece of poo.
A little bit harsh. You are.
Go for it.
You're not comprehending what I'm saying. It's going right over your head because you don't like what I'm saying here. I'm explaining to you by your own.
Nobody can understand what you're saying, Gary. No one. No one has a clue. Not even your acolytes who say, yo, they don't understand. They just train seals. That's it.
Own concession. You have stated that everything you assert is arbitrary. Therefore, whatever you assert has no foundation, no basis. You are now dismissed, sir.
You are now bye-bye, bye-bye.
You're just claiming that what you say is less arbitrary, but you have no basis for that claim.
Is that statement arbitrary?
Is everything is arbitrary in this context?
Is
yes.
Is that statement
the
arbitrary?
Cuts both ways, my friend.
No, you're not. Listen, okay, we're going to move.
Okay, the thing is screaming. What I've learned is raising your voice and screaming your debate or your conversation is no answer. None whatsoever. So what I've learned is that it's gotta be chill. And if it's not chill, then debatably, arguably, it's entertaining. You can't really win. Can one?
Fun. Next person. The guy is so clueless.
Oh,
he doesn't realize. Did you?
There he goes, just insulting the person that he just kicked out. So what he does is he gets his narcissistic supply from the poor guy, poor low-hanging fruit, and then spits him out, and then talks shit about him, and then goes, next! What a pig.
Did you ever see the movie? Hold on a second, nothing. Did you ever see the movie Blazing Saddles, where the black sheriff, where they put a gun to him, and all of a sudden the black sheriff puts a gun to his own head? Okay? This is what you have done. You have put, you have said, nobody move or I kill X, and you're X, and you pull the trigger. That's what you have done in this conversation.
I can see why you're so angry.
Exactly. I can see why he's so angry. He's not making any sense. Put a gun to your own head. You see, he's lost. He's lost the argument. He's lost the logic. He's lost the rationality. He's lost everything. He's lost, and he knows it. So he's throwing whatever he can at you and me, and whatever sticks. Hopefully, he thinks all of it will stick. But as far as I'm concerned, nothing of it sticks. I am Teflon Sidney Winston, and all of Darth's bullshit that he throws at the wall just slides right off. I hope you guys are all Teflonated as well, because you need to be when you listen to this.
You're not, listen, I'm not angry. I'm just assertive. You're not aware that you have been completely neutralized in the conversation. And the reason why you keep on talking is because you're just simply reiterating the same vomit that has been neutral.
Reiterating vomit. How do you reiterate vomit? Is that grammatically correct? Is that even idiomatically correct? Metaphorically correct? Parabolically correct? I mean, what does the fuck does that mean?
Many minutes ago, and we've been over this 3 times, so we're done. Next.
See? Next.
Sure. Just a little point of confusion. So, isn't his position totally consistent, though?
It's clear to anyone listening that this is ridiculous.
Consistency, yeah, he's consistently arbitrary by his own concession.
Bullshit. He's consistently arbitrary by his own concession. Are you listening to what this Gestapo Gary says? He's consistently arbitrary by his own concession. Now break that sentence down, unpack that sentence, and tell me, number one, what it means, and number two, tell me where he gets that information from, how he arrives at that conclusion. His own concession. He's consistently arbitrary by his own concession. And even if you can explain by his own confession or session, whatever he said, then explain what you mean by consistently arbitrary, because if I'm following your conversation, if I'm following the track of this this video, I'm being consistent. So there's no arbitrariness about it. I'm being focusing on this video, on this live stream. I mean, consistently arbitrary. That's crap. That's just a buzzword that means nothing.
And so are you.
Okay, nothing. Listen, plants, what you get? We're done. You're a deer in the headlights.
Everybody's a deer in the headlights. Yep. Everybody.
Now, nothing.
You love that phrase, don't you? You really love it. You love it.
Well, I think it's very descriptive. A deer in the headlights typifies somebody who's standing there who doesn't understand not only what they are, but the predicament that they're in.
He was just waiting for you to prove your own
nothing.
position.
Hold on a second. Okay, listen. I don't dialogue with 3 or 4 people. I dialogue with one person at a time. Now, nothing. Are you still there?
God can let you dialogue more than one person.
Okay, lives. Listen to me. If you're going to be,
This guy doesn't dialogue with anybody. He's a monologuer. He monologues. He's a liar. He's an absolute fucking liar. Did you know that Darth Dawkins, Gary, Gestapo Gary, is a liar? What you do now, man, do you ever know now?
be a heckler, I'll just simply turn your volume down and I will ignore you. If you're further disruptive, I'll banish you from the room. Okay? Now, if you want to interact with me one at a time, whatever your name is, okay, I'll be glad to do so. But right now, I was talking with nothing. If you want to be next on the queue, I'll be.
You know what, Bulldog? You're right. He tries to argue his God into existence. Exactly. Firstly, he defines his God into existence, and then he argues on that definition axiomatically. And if you don't accept that axiom, then he gets angry like this. This is exactly what happens, because nobody accepts his axiom. So, bang, flash, he's angry.
Glad to humor you. So nothing. Do you realize that he admitted that everything he says is arbitrary? And you want to say, well, at least he's being consistent?
Yes.
Do you really think that's praiseworthy?
I mean, it is what it is.
Do you really think that that's praiseworthy to state that everything one says is arbitrary? Is that praiseworthy?
It doesn't mean it's not the truth.
Okay, you're a moron. Now, okay, go ahead, man.
I don't think so.
We're done with you. You're an idiot.
If you so Dolph.
See, I run into people all the time that not only are deer in headlights, that people, they don't care if they're spewing gobbledygook and idiocy, as long as they can just be argumentative and just make a pretense that they're verbally opposing me. Well, at a certain point, when somebody is just simply incoherent on their own terms, there's no point in conversing with them any further. You know, it's kind of like the police in the killings in the bank in Florida the other day. At a certain point, they just move in with the heavy artillery and start throwing in flashbangs and start firing. Okay? Go ahead, Livs, or whatever your name.
Hi.
It's got insult
Go ahead.
all the time.
Are you married?
I don't get into my personal life.
But you just asked people personal questions about their beliefs.
No, I'm asking them questions about their metaphysical commitments. That's different. I didn't ask about their personal lives.
Sure.
Did you want to address a topic that we were discussing or not?
Woo! Angry.
Sure.
Or do you just want to be a heckler?
What is a heckler?
Okay, good. Did you want to address something that was on topic?
On topic about God.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm waiting for your point.
Go ahead.
Why are you doing this?
Okay. Do you have something substantive that you'd like to say?
I have a question.
Okay, she's onto him. Like, she's stunned by this man's behavior. You can tell in her voice language. She's like stunned. Like she's got a question and she knows what's coming. She knows that this guy is just going to lose his shit all over her if She gives him the wrong answer.
I believe you can answer.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Why are you doing this? Do you want to convince
Oh, why
us
am I
to believe in God?
why am I doing this? Because I'm demonstrating that the Christian scriptures and the revelation of God are absolutely true, and that the denial of it leads to absurdity. And if you reject the Christian worldview, you will be rejecting God's substitutionary atonement through Jesus Christ, who died on the cross and rose again to not only redeem us from our sins, but to redeem us intellectually, morally, ethically, not just give us eternal life. And the demonstration that Christianity is true is through a reductio ad absurdum, that if you deny it by virtue of non-acceptance, then your position will be reduced to absurdity, which I have done with each and every person who has attempted so far this evening to oppose the Christian worldview.
He just buried himself right there. He just laid out everything, his whole argument. He laid out his whole argument right there and buried himself in it.
That's very noble.
No, that's what the Bible commands Christians to do.
I understand you.
I'm not noble.
I
may be assertive. Sometimes I get a little bit miffed and angry. Sometimes I say, certain insults that maybe I shouldn't say. But you have to feel I'm dealing with a whole lot of fools that want to line up and shoot their mouths off.
If you want to,
I'm not going to hesitate to tell somebody is a fool when they put their foolishness on full display. I'm not telling people they're fools or deer in headlights because they don't understand. It's that when something has been painstakingly explained, step by step by step, and then they just write it off.
Yeah, it must feel.
I mean, how foolish is for somebody to say, well, all assertions are arbitrary. Well, if all assertions are arbitrary, then so is that. Then that statement is vacuous.
Yeah, you're right.
His position has been reduced to absurdity. That's why in the 1 Corinthians it says, has not the wisdom of God turned the wisdom of world?
You can join by phone. You don't need to get the link. You can just if you're in Australia, El Gore, I'll get the link for you. You actually have to there's a link to a list of numbers, which I'm going to give you in a moment. So each country has its own. Here you go. All right. So each country has its own local phone number and PIN number. Although all the PIN numbers seem to be the same for every country. Click this link here. There you go. And you'll get a phone number for Australia or wherever you are. And you can join. So there's basically two ways to join. Either through the link. I mean, either through the app, Google Meet, or through your telephone from wherever you are. There is no excuse. Okay, let's carry on listening to Gestapo Boy.
Into foolishness. Foolishness is when one's position has been rendered absurd. And you see, what happens is people who are unbelievers in Jesus Christ, unbelievers in the revelation of the Christian God, they devoutly believe that they are not absurd and that they can make intelligible sense of their existence. No God needed. You don't need the Bible. Well, this guy says, well, you can't prove the Bible. Well, I just showed that by his own criterion that he can't prove anything. Therefore, he shouldn't be saying you can't prove anything, because that statement can't be proven.
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
So basically what he's done is he's pulled out a gun and he says, nobody move. Or the guy with the mustache dies, and he's the one with the mustache.
I have seen actually Blazing Saddles. It's a cool movie.
Yeah.
That was dumb. That was a really dumb analogy.
Yeah, so this is how you can know Christianity is true.
Okay, you got it, everybody? You got it? You understand now? This is how Christianity is true, because it is. All right? Listen, I'm going to cut in here, okay? Here you go. Take it from me. Christianity is true. Why? Because the book says it's true, and because there is no other way that is coherent, because it says so in the book that is true. Excuse me, there's somebody at the front door. Well, hello. Oop. Hello, hold on. Now I got to give you some permissions, I think, before you can. Yeah, hold on a sec. But there you go. All right, you should be able to turn on your mic. There you go.
Okay, I think I'm in now.
Yeah, you're in. Welcome.
Cool. I might have to duck out real fast. I'm just waiting for a plumber to show up, so I might have to duck out quick.
For the plumber?
Yeah.
You waiting for the plumber coming? So. You got a plumber coming? What broke?
Yeah, so I might have to duck. Oh, my shower.
Your shower broke.
And it's 32 degrees, so having a shower is nice.
Well, garden hose outside will do the trick.
Just the garden hose.
What's the time there now? You're in Sydney, right?
Canberra, but it's 4 o'clock. Yeah, 4 o'clock.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow, from your point of view.
No, wrong. No, today. Today is the answer. There you go. Trick question.
Yeah, it's Tuesday here, so. Yeah.
It's not, because it's Monday here, and it can't be, law of identity. We both live on the same planet. How can that be true?
Are you asserting that you understand what is possible and impossible with that statement of actuality?
Yes, because it's self attesting. What the fuck does that mean? Self-attesting.
Means it's circular. Bullshit.
Self-attesting is circular, right?
I think it is.
Yeah. So he always is circular. He always gives a circular argument, no matter what. If he says that his Bible is self-attesting, or his God is self-attesting, or his anything is self-attesting, that is circular.
Well, the person he kicked for bringing it up brought up the valid point that everything Darth is saying,
yes,
to contradict those points applies to Darth points. But that's why he kicked him, because he doesn't like that, right? Because he knows it's true.
Exactly.
Because everything he's saying is just assertions.
Yeah. It's like him putting his fingers in his ears and going la 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 sort of thing. Yeah. You know that thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'll give Darth a little bit of credit. Like, he's smart enough to know when he's beat, right? And then he just yells and kicks them. Because he doesn't ever want. I mean, he does that. He did that with Danny.
Yeah, but he thinks that we don't know that. That he, because when he comes back, when he comes back and brags about it, then he thinks that he's got one past us.
I think that's the funniest part of listening to Darth, is he actually thinks he's fooling people.
Yeah.
Like when he does.
I think he does too.
Like, I don't think he believes a lot of what he's saying, but that's why he has to go after the fact, and make sure everybody understood how right he was, because he knows he's not. Like, he's not dumb that way, right? So, but he's an annoying twat, like, because he just yells and screams, and he doesn't want a conversation. He just gets off on beating people up. I think I said that before. Like, I don't think he even cares much about his theology. He just likes music.
Yeah, exactly. He's doing the narcissistic supply thing. It's all about him getting that supply and making him feel better because of what a shitty life he has and how shitty and the only way he can feel better is by making other people feel worse about themselves. He's like an absolute. He's malignant. He's like cancer.
But he could argue about preferring oranges over bananas, and you would still have this type of discussion. It's just that he knows, I think, that theologically he gets a bigger audience, right? Like, you know, the buttlickers like Tom Locke and all those guys, right? I mean, it's just
I think Tom Locke makes a living out of Darth Dawkins, don't you think?
Oh,
I mean, not Tom Locke, Tom Rabbit.
Oh yeah, no, sorry, I was thinking Tom Locke, one of his minions, who just sits in the background laughing at Darth's supposed jokes, right? So,
have you seen him actually?
I don't see.
Have you seen Tom Locke try? Go ahead.
Oh, his whole thing with the flood. Oh, that was just embarrassing.
No, when Tom Locke held his own hangout and tried to do the Darth philosophy.
Oh yeah.
It was hilarious.
Well, by the time Tom Locke gets it, it's like fourth hand. He doesn't even understand the argument, so he just blathers. But
Tom Locke doesn't
like
listen.
him, like, no, well, I don't think he's smart. I don't think so. I won't go there, but it's guys like that. Like, I've never been a theist, which I think is kind of unique in a lot of these platforms. Like, so I don't have that baggage.
I'm like that too.
It wasn't until I was an adult and started getting involved in theology, mostly from a political point of view, because that's really where I come from. I don't like the belief stuff, like with the long tangential arguments and stuff like that. I'm not actually that interested in it. I'm more interested in what it does to politics and laws and society. That's more what I'm interested in, and that's where I start pushing back. But it wasn't until I got involved in that as an adult that I actually realized that people actually believe this shit, like the flood and all that stuff. Like, when I was growing up, like, they were just Bible stories. It was just a bunch of silly stuff, and like, cool, they were, you know, metaphors and teaching things and stuff like that. But I didn't actually think people believed them until I was actually an adult, and that was just like stunning to me.
Is there a kettle boiling?
So when I listened, no, it's a washing machine. Wow, you can pick that up. That's pretty impressive on my headphones.
No, it's a microphone.
Yeah. Anyway, I just when I listen to these guys argue, it's just like, it just seems so childish at times. Like, that there are.
That's the thing. That's the thing. This guy Gary, he's a 60-plus-year-old man. Chronologically, and he's got this little child, this temper tantrum child living inside of him, and he accuses all his opponents of being little kids living in an adult body, or acting like teenagers, or la 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 la. You know, he's such a projectionist.
He's like a toddler that their ice cream slipped off the cone, and he's standing in the middle of the park, stamping his feet, crying.
Yes.
Like, that's.
And Tone Loc will run over and buy him a new ice cream cone.
Yeah, and then eat it for him or something. But yeah. Anyway, I just find it funny. Like, I don't understand. I mean, your whole theme about, it's just imagination. I mean, of course it is. And I just don't understand. I guess it's just indoctrination. I shouldn't say I don't understand. I do understand. It's just pure indoctrination.
Yeah.
But why would you keep it up? Like, once you become a teenager and realize your parents are full of shit, like, I don't understand anyone. I don't understand how religion just continues. I really don't.
It's a mental illness, and that's the problem. See, that's the central problem, is that it's a mental illness, and I don't think they quite get it. It's too bad.
I just don't understand it, and partly because I've never believed. I really just can't put myself in that position. So I just really don't understand it.
Well, if you look at it from the point of view that it is a mental illness, you might understand it.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's definitely I mean, even like we were talking about yesterday with the Tangelo, like how toxic some of the atheist channels and stuff can be. And I just see a lot of ex-theists, having the same sort of almost cultish protectionist behaviors as the theists do. And that just, from everything I understand about how the brain develops, when you wire yourself that way as a child, it's really hard to undo it. Like it does actually affect your brain.
Absolutely.
That's brainwashing. Just repeat something over and over and over again until your brain thinks it's true. And going to church every Sunday does exactly that, I think.
Yep, that's for sure. Hello, Skeptic. Welcome.
Well, hello.
How's it going?
Hey, Skeptic. I don't think I've ever been on with you, so hello.
You guys have never met?
I've listened to him before and interacted in the chat, but I've never
okay.
spoken. So, yeah. I remember a very long conversation about circumcision. That's the one that sticks in my head.
That's the guy.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad my message is resonating.
Oh, I've always felt, to me, that's one, I was just saying to Sydney about my views on religion, and that's one of those things that when people talk about harm of religion, that's one of them. Like, there's absolutely no reason to mutilate children other than for some weird religious thing in a chapter in a dusty old book.
The covenant, my friend, the covenant between human, Jewish little baby, 1 week old, and his God.
Yeah.
Well, are you really a Jew before you mutilated Sid or afterwards?
I believe that you can only become a Jew once you have signed the covenant with your foreskin.
Or your parents signed the covenant?
Well, your mother specifically, isn't it? Isn't it maternal?
Mother specifically hands you over to the torture chamber.
The mother must betray the child for the tribe.
The mother must betray the child for the tribe. Exactly.
Yeah. When you think of how protective mothers are for their babies, it says an awful lot about religion that allows them to hand their brand new baby, beautiful baby boy, over to some maniac with a knife.
If I would have asked my mother today, in fact, I did ask her once when she was alive many years ago, who was the rabbi who did the deed? She had no idea.
Yeah.
She's just yeah, take my boy.
I mean, in what other scenario would you hand a baby over to somebody with a knife?
Just the thought of it makes me cringe, and it makes me scared that women do this.
Yeah, and that's just one aspect.
Yeah.
That's why I'm sort of I would call myself an anti-theist, because like I said, it's not the belief I have issues with; it's the implications and the behaviors that follow. Right? So people believe all kinds of mad
So, would you call yourself an intactivist?
I don't know what that is, to be honest.
Let me turn you over to Skeptic.
Well, an intactivist are people that advocate for everyone to have body autonomy and genital integrity. Female typical and intersex or male typical genital autonomy.
Yeah, it just seems like an extension of bodily autonomy. Yeah, so I would probably say so.
Right. Do you know that 1 in 1,400 babies are born intersex? About the same.
Oh yeah,
it's about the same number as red-haired people.
It's a shockingly large number considering how cavalier we are about how it's treated. And when you look at the determination is based on a measurement in millimeters, and if it's on one side of a millimeter, they call it a boy, and if it's on another side of the millimeter, they call it a girl. I mean, if that ain't stupid arbitrary, I don't know what is. And then forcing those people to live that way, just based on that, basically on a ruler. What a ruler says dictates how somebody is supposed to live. That's nonsense to me.
We need to know the fact that, I browbeat this topic to absurdity, and we need to know the fact that I was not the one to bring it up.
Yeah, I don't know why sexuality. Well, I do know why, but sexuality.
What are you talking about right now?
Weird thing.
You weren't the one to bring it up now in this conversation?
Right. Yeah.
No, well, yes, you were, because algorithm, he recognized you from a conversation about circumcision. He said so.
Yeah. Well, so that's where we started. Yeah. We don't need to talk about it. That was just.
Yeah, you are recognized because of people's lack of foreskin.
Man, that makes me feel good, man. I'm so happy. My work is reaping benefits.
Absolutely. You see, you're doing good.
I want to be known as the foreskin guy.
There you go. Sort of like an anti-Jew.
Well, it's an not anti-Jew, but
it's anti-genital mutilation.
Wait, it's pro-Jew, but anti-Judaism.
It's not anti-Judaism, it's anti-genital mutilation in the story. It's got nothing to do.
Most of my online friends that I communicate with most are victims of Judaism.
Although that's just local, right? When you look over the world, there's genital mutilation that happens for all kinds of other religious reasons too. So.
No, Muslim. Do you think a Muslim would be a Muslim without Judaism?
No.
No, I'm thinking about African female mutilation in other countries and other cultures. So I just don't think it's. I mean, one of the things not.
That's why. Well, that's why I call it. That's why I call it genital mutilation across the board. Never mind about religion or anything. It's genital mutilation. The end of story. Period.
Exactly. Yeah. And for all we know, it predates religion. For other reasons.
No. Religion's been around.
I don't know
religion's been around since mankind has been around.
I wonder though, which came first? Did religion adopt the genital mutilation, or did it create it? I don't actually know. I have no idea.
That's a good question.
Because so much of religion, especially the Abrahamic stuff, is.
That's a kooky idea. Who the fuck came up with that?
If not, yeah, exactly. Like where.
And not only that,
again,
how the hell?
The toxicity of religion.
How the hell have we Jews bought that shit for 3,000 years or whatever? Come on.
Well, was it like a drunken bet the first time it happened?
We're like the most gullible race in the world, us Jews.
Like, how did the first one happen? Like, what was their thinking? Hey, let's just chop this up.
Yeah, exactly. Like, go to the source. Go to the very first guy who nicked the dick. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Man.
So what were they thinking, or were they just like really drunk or something?
Wow, you know what it is? It must be something to do with the way people treated each other in those days. There was mutilation. There was no. Life was worth nothing. You lived until 25 if you're lucky. 30. I mean, you lived until 25. Normally 35 if you're lucky. That type of thing.
Yeah. Well, unless you're one of the elite, then you lived longer.
No, I'm talking about way back when.
Yeah.
When even you were hairy.
I always balk at when people talk about the average age that people lived to in those times, because a lot of them, like the infant mortality was so high that most people died under 5. But if you reach the age of 20, most people actually live pretty long. Or longer, at least.
Yeah. Hey, I just thought about this. Remember we were talking about tone lock? So he was challenged. He was challenged. How can God be so unmerciful as to kill all those babies in the flood? So Tone Loc says, how do you know there were babies in the flood? And the answer was, of course, all throughout humanity, there's babies everywhere. Look at any war zone right now, you'll see babies. It's more babies everywhere. But Tone Loc says that doesn't say in the Bible that there were babies. So So he's
it's just
such an idiot.
Such a pathetic attempt. But don't forget, he's the 40-year-old virgin guy, so he probably doesn't know.
Is he 40 now? I remember when he had his avatar was 35-year-old virgin.
Yeah.
Boy, he's getting up there.
Anyway, I gotta run. My thing is here, so.
All right, man. Good luck with your plumbing.
I'll try and jump in a bit. If not, thanks for chatting. I'll try again later.
Sure.
Cool. How's it going?
Oh, you're still connected. No, I'll just mute him. All right, Tom, take it away.
What do you mean? Oh, no, I'm going to lead the show. But hey, it's cool to hear anyone else that empathizes and understands the gravity of tribal rights. That's what it moves down to, like the psychological impact of a tribal right. Like how much how much should tribal rights affect modern society? Like eventually, I know tribal rights are like really prescient now, and the Anti-Defamation League and other Jewish organizations like go to the floor to defend this bullshit.
Yeah.
But it's all about controlling other Jews and maintaining this xenophobic tribal mentality. I wonder how long it'll be before this goes away. I think in the next 50 years, they'll lose all their
authority.
Political, not necessarily authority, political,
religious authority.
Political.
People won't. Listen. There's got to come a time when Jewish couples have a baby boy and they say no to circumcision. Just that's it. Goodbye. Get out of my life, Rabbi. Get out of my life, religion. No circumcision. It's not. There's nothing. There's no reason for it. Go away.
Well, they're already doing it, Sid, but they're not accepted by the Jews because there's like the halakha of the Hasidics. They refuse to allow an uncircumcised man to be buried amongst the Jews. So, it puts a lot of pressure on young people.
Well, also you got to figure that if circumcision wasn't such a fucking big deal, then you wouldn't have been able to identify the Jewish males from the non-Jewish males in times of extreme prejudice.
Yeah, well, you're right about that. That's what Hanukkah and the Maccabees are all about.
Oh, really?
The Hanukkah celebration was about the holy oil being extended to an 8th day that was blessed. It was like miracle oil.
The miracle of Hanukkah. That's how we were taught as children. Yes. The miracle of the oil jar that only had oil for 1 day, but lasted 8 days. And if it hadn't lasted 8 days, they would have all died or something like that. That was the children's version of Hanukkah. We were fed that one. We never heard about Hasmonai or whatever you're trying to tell us. None of that.
I was over 50 years old before I understood.
Night, Bill.
I understood what Hanukkah really came from. It was like crazy. This is a conflict between Eastern orthodoxy and subjugation to the authority and Western individual liberty, which is what America's founded on.
You probably still, or you probably understand Hanukkah better than I do, because I'm still at that elementary school level of the little oil jar thing, lasting 8 days. That's it for
you
me.
think it's the best?
To me, that's what it is. That's what Hanukkah is. It's the 8 days or the 9 days of the candles, commemorating that the miracle of the Jews only having enough oil in the jar for one night, yet it lasted miraculously for 8 nights or 9 nights, and that's the miracle of Hanukkah. That's what we were taught as children. That's it, nothing else.
You think about the festival of lights.
Yeah, whatever you call it. Yeah, lights. I don't know. That's what they taught us as kids, and that's what I always knew it as. It was always a little story, right? They taught it they taught it to us as a story, and I remember it as a story. That's it.
But they didn't know either. But the truth of Hanukkah is that they actually took a lot of Jewish men and they lined them up and they forcibly tied them and mutilated their penis in order to conform to the new normality of the Maccabean tribe.
Do you remember that there is some verse somewhere in the Hebrew Bible where someone is commanded to go and bring 200 or 300 or something foreskins of Philistines in order to marry my daughter? There's some verse about that. What the fuck? I'd like to see that acted out. I'd like to see how they would portray that on stage.
It was 200. That was Saul. Guy had to collect 240.
I'd like to see the Chabad movie on that one and how it plays out.
Chabad, yeah.
Or the explanation. What are the mechanics there of going to get 200 foreskins from slain Philistines? Oh my God! Just think about it. And then you give it a soul, and then what is soul going to do with it? It's just, think of the blood. Think of the it's just it's ball fucking barrack, man.
Look, Sid, you and I'll be dead, but anyone that's looking on the technological watchtower, when they see that boys and girls are both and intersex are protected from ritual genital mutilation, they will know that the dawn of science and healthy lifestyles.
Yes, Al Gore. Just think of the smell and the blood. I mean, there was no sanitation. A bag of fucking foreskins. It's like, oh, I can't even imagine it. Like, or not even a bag, probably a little, ampule or something. Fuck, it's just disgusting. Ugh.
Yeah, I think that
they got to haul these 200 foreskins from the battlefield all the way to the palace. Come on, you asshole! And they only used to battle in the summertime. Remember, winter was a time for resting or drinking or whatever. Fuck, stupid Bible. So many holes. What's that?
The Europeans don't do this shit. But however, a lot of like Arab countries that do it culturally, they rely on the American bullshit science to give them a quasi excuse for doing it. But the real purpose is tribal loyalty and unity to their culture.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the willingness of the mother. See, the mother, when a baby's born, the father's not bonded to the baby. When a baby's born, nature does not make a place for the father to bond. Nature intends on the father not being part of the pair bonding and child rearing. However, the mother has an unending responsibility to protect the child from harm. And for the mother to take her healthy child and harm them in order to demonstrate loyalty to a tribe, that makes that child a metaphor. And particularly with the Jews and the halakha that I've learned from some Hasidic rabbis, that it's important for the Jews for the baby to actually feel the pain. But I don't know.
Why is it important for the baby to feel pain?
That's
And why not if it's important for the male baby to feel pain, then why isn't it important for the female baby to feel pain? And if it's not important for the female baby to feel pain, then why shouldn't we just leave the male baby alone and just say, hey, maybe it's just as important for the male baby to not feel pain? It's fucked up.
I don't know.
I
I'm
hate.
really curious.
It makes me angry. It really does.
Well, Hasidic Jews are not equal rights guys. You know that, right?
Yes, I absolutely know that. That is a very, very true truth.
I didn't even know about the word halakha up until about 2 weeks ago.
Boy, you've learned a lot in the last 2 weeks.
Maybe so. I've been watching this. I've sent you links to this rabbi I'm listening to.
I know, but why would I've listened to rabbis all my life, and I never sent you any links to them.
Well, I'm trying to. Well, you see, my goal is.
I could tell you one thing. Whatever you hear from a rabbi, whatever speech you hear, whatever he says, it's a repetition of something that was said for the past 300 years or more. Okay, since 1698. That's where Chabad kind of started. So all that shit is 400, 500 years old, and it's passed down generation to generation to generation. At the yeshiva, they learn the same thing. A rabbi becomes a rabbi because he can repeat exactly what his teachers and his father and his community taught him, and that's the way it works. The rabbis are really nothing more than parrots. They're not smart, they're not learned, they're just parrots. And that's why I don't think that a rabbi is necessarily an honorific. To be called a rabbi to me, it's kind of an insult, because it just means you've got absolutely no credentials whatsoever, other than the fact that you know how to parrot.
Yeah, this Talmud thing. The Talmud, I've been following this Jewish couple on TikTok, and I'm telling you, they're attractive people. This woman, she's very attractive, and I think you've probably seen her videos.
No, I haven't. I don't know. I don't watch TikTok, so I know I haven't seen anything.
No, I've been downloading their videos.
Yeah, but I haven't been watching your links you send me.
But I send you a link, you don't open it.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, let's move along. Okay.
I'm just too busy. Oh, I get it. Oh, I get it while I'm sleeping. Or you send it at the, whatever. I just have time.
That's fine.
It's okay. I mean, I'm not saying don't send them, because I will get to it, maybe. You know what I mean?
No, I need you said, because you're my interpreter.
There you go. When I can help you, I will.
Yeah, I just want to understand.
And so you have a right to understand. Actually,
I do.
You
really?
have an innate right to understand.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the Jew circumcision is very important to American world society. Look, can you demonstrate, other than an isolated tribe that has not been exposed to the modern world, any other ethnicity that's maintained a tribal loyalty like the Jews?
Chinese?
No, they're not. The Chinese are not.
Well, the Chinese have always been Chinese. So obviously, they've remained as one unit somehow.
No. I've looked into that. The Chinese, Qin was an emperor, and he dominated many tribes and people and made China. But it's not the same kind of spiritual ideology of China that the Jews have for Judaism. I'm telling you, man.
Well, no, they don't have the they can split up and stuff because they don't have the one thing that holds all Jews together. The covenant.
There's no Book of China.
No. There's no Chinese Maimonides. Hold on, I'm gonna go close the door. Right. It's 34 degrees here, dude.
Fahrenheit.
Huh?
Yeah, Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's 1 degree on my scale. And freezes at 0, okay? Freezing is 0 and we're at 1. Let that sink in. Freezing at 0. We're at 1.
Yeah, it's pretty cold here. Hey, Sid, if I set you up if I do the work and set you up a vacation, would you fly down and vacation?
I'm sorry, give me those details again.
Yeah, set you up with logistics. I'm not gonna pay for it, but if I set you up,
you're not gonna pay for it. You know, the funny thing is, you're not the first person who's offered me, if I set you up and you come here, you get everything you want, but I'm not going to pay for your trip. You're the second person that's offered me that.
I'm the second person.
Yeah.
Well, damn. I may need to up that.
Well, no. Yeah, exactly. You're gonna have to just put $100,000 in my bank account. I'll pay for everything.
$100,000. I can hire a Jew in Mobile cheaper than that.
But you won't be able to hire a Jew named Sidney Winston.
No, I wouldn't be able to do that.
So there you go. There's the difference. There's the $99,000 difference.
Hey, you know what? I think it's kind of interesting about Jews in Mobile. Hey, I'll tell you what's makes me afraid about Jews in Mobile. The Jews in Mobile, Jews have been in Mobile since before America was formed. And as far as I'm concerned, other than religion, they should be just like me. And we're on equal footing.
How are they different?
Huh?
How are they? What do you mean they should be just like you?
They should be just like me. It's just a regular Joe Schmo citizen. But
they are.
But the way things are going, they're going with Chabad Lubavitch, they're going to indoctrinate these young Jewish people because young people are looking for something.
Yeah, but just let's put this into perspective, okay? The Lubavitch, the Chabad that you're talking about, even though you think that they're like very prolific and out there and gobbling up, low-hanging fruit Jews to convert them, etc., 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 then they are out there and they look like they're busy, but the people that they're really getting a hold of is a very, very few, just a minority. So they're not dangerous in that way because they're not infecting as many people as you think they are. And a lot of people who they catch and start giving them money and donating will, will just drift away and tell them to piss off, after they realize they've been conned.
Well, look, in Mobile, they never did put up a menorah in public, the government, but since Chabad opened a synagogue here in the last 5 years, they've started putting up a menorah.
Of course, they do that here as well, but that doesn't mean that like there's an inflation in the population of Jews.
No, not inflation in Jews, but an inflation of Jews believing in.
Yeah, but I mean, over here, at some point in the year, the Indians or some East Asian or Indian, they have something called Diwali. It's some kind of a Buddhist or Sikh or who knows what East Indian thing. They go do their parades and they have Diwali. Okay, so the Jews have their menorah, and so what?
I don't like the menorah.
You don't like the menorah?
No, I don't like it.
The Festival of Lights, Tom? Come on.
No, I don't like it.
It's the lights.
It's not.
It's the lights, Tom. It's the lights.
I don't like it.
Okay. Give me your reasons.
Because it signifies the defeat of individual liberty by the Maccabees.
No, it doesn't. It signifies the miracle of the jar of oil that lasted, that's supposed to, there was only enough oil in the jar for one night, and it lasted 8 nights. Isn't that miraculous? Either that, or somebody didn't look down into that jar properly and totally miscalculated.
Yeah, I know there's not a miracle there, but
of course there's no miracle. That's the whole idea of telling it as a children's story, like they told it to us. But it's part of the tradition of being a Jew. There's that miracle which doesn't happen. Who can explain shit like that? We're sitting there with our little chopped off dicks. It doesn't really matter about the miracles. We're crying. Come on, it's deeper. It's deeper than miracles. The problem is deeper than miracles.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Are you streaming?
Not for long. Hold on.
I don't care.
Yeah, it's
Do you want to go to bed soon? I'm getting tired.
Yeah.